what's going on, guys? It's Preach. And who's here?
It's Ghost.
What's up, man? We're doing another Star Wars The Old Republic video, and as you are the king of Star Wars The Old Republic, we're going to take you in depth, balls deep, stick a fist right up that Jap's eye, and you're going to tell us all about what? What are we talking about today, fella?
The Bounty Hunter, mate.
The Bounty Hunter? What spec?
The Merc.
Mercenary Bounty Hunter, baby, because you've tried to switch up all sorts of different classes, bringing the people what they want, which is not just one class. We don't roll that way.
Dose homes.
Dose classes, that's right, and you're nearly up there with Glacius Riddick.
Yes.
That brother of the big fella himself. And we're going to be talking today about the leveling specs and what you've been doing to get into some flashpoints and
Correct.
DPS. You've tried a few various specs. So what spec are we rolling with today?
At the minute, I am leveling as the Arsenal spec, which is the main DPS spec for a mercenary.
So what are the specs have we avoided there? Bodyguard, which obviously in brackets has healing.
Yes.
You've tried the healing as well. What did you think of the healing?
I tried healing. To be honest, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool in both PvP and PvE. It's very useful in PvP, but you know, we can go a bit more into that when I make an end game video of it.
Mm-hmm.
But for leveling, it's not really that good because considering your first companion pet Mako is primarily a healer,
yeah.
So you want to try and dodge that and do as much damage as you can because she's one of the best healing companions in game.
Okay, and you've also got the Pyrotech tree, which is the
Yes.
shared tree, obviously, between all the bounty hunters. If you've never
Correct.
played this game before, guys, your third talent tree, which is the one over yonder, just right there. We're just going to call that the third tree.
Call it tertiary.
The tertiary tree is actually shared between both the specializations of the class.
So the Powertech and the Mercenary both get the Pyrotech tree.
Yeah, which is more, we believe, dot spec.
It's dot and fire based, yeah. But I think again, like I said in the previous video for the assassin, that's very, very higher level builds because you're reliant on your thermal detonator basically.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we're going to talk about the Arsenal spec.
Arsenal tree. Now you picked this for leveling and for doing some nice DPS, and of course in the background we can see you owning faces. In what instance was this?
This was the Red Reaper. It's the first time that I've been in it. But
Red Reaper.
Hello. Yeah. But it's the first time that I've been in it. We had luckily enough to get a couple of guildies in there as well. I will say it's very lax on my part because we're filming it at your house.
That's right.
I'm a lefty trying to use a Naga, which is basically like watching a retard try to fuck a doorknob.
It was pretty good watching you try and do that. Definitely. If you were injured on the hand, I think your bedroom life would be quite bad.
It is. It's basically like my wedding finger that's trying to do most of the work, which my thumb would do if I'm using my left adder.
Of course.
But okay, let's
jump into what you chose then.
So basically, Arsenal is a very strong burst damage, and it's absolutely amazing to level with. Very good survivability, very little downtime. And basically, your main abilities, I mean, there's a lot to do with a bounty hunter, whereas the other classes that I've played so much, like the assassin, it's very apparent what you're going to use to DPS with.
Yeah.
Whereas the bounty hunter, you get a lot of abilities which are quite similar, like some of them require like a cast or a channel or an insta-cast, but it doesn't really specify what they are. So there's no rotation. To me, there's no rotation when you first start and you're getting those first few abilities. Fire off what you want. If you find that something works, fair enough. It's very, very... like in different circumstances, different combinations will work better as well. But the Arsenal spec is basically awesome.
Well, I think we should explain before we go
anyway.
too far into it, is that if people are considering rolling the Bounty Hunter, its resource system is different from anything you might have seen before. So it's nothing like in World of Warcraft. Is we have the heat system,
yes,
where our abilities are going to generate weapon heat. So you will have seen this mechanic in lots of games. Lots of games have it when you fire, your weapon heat builds up, and then you need to let it cool down.
Yeah.
Very much how this works, isn't it? Some abilities generate heat, some abilities get rid of heat.
Exactly.
And we're striking that balance. Now, you were telling me that the too much heat actually causes these 4 arrows. If we mouse down to there.
The 4 arrows on your heat gauge, basically the more heat you build up, the slower that it reduces.
Okay.
So you want to try and hit that balance. Hit a few auto attacks in there, and also when you get further up in the tree, which we'll talk about, is use your unload every time that you're procced and it resets. Fire off and unload as that reduces your heat as well.
That's going to bring your heat down back as well.
Correct.
Okay, so what talent choice did you make from the start?
So from the start, I went into Mandalorian Warheads, which basically...
Iron Warheads.
Sorry, my friend.
If you're going to make it sound cool, make it sound maximum
You got to say Mandalorian Iron Warheads.
Mandalorian Iron Warheads.
Which is, it's very self-explanatory basically. Damage dealt by all missiles increased by 6%, and if you go in, if you're a healer spec and you're branching into Arsenal, it's going to obviously increase your healing with your collateral missile, which is obviously your bread and butter of
So
healing.
there's a lot of variations of missile. I mean, I'm noticing on your quick bar there, there's seen at least 5 different pictures of missiles flying in there.
Well, you've been mistaken, my friend. You know why?
Why?
Because some of them are darts. Darts.
Some of them are
Darts.
some of the classic African blow darts.
But yeah, that's basically it. Like, so obviously you're using your missile a lot. It's probably your main attack, and obviously when you get higher up in the tree with the tracer, that's obviously your main attack.
Okay.
So
What
that's
did you
just
skip? What was that number 2?
I skipped.
Integrated systems.
It's basically healing received and healing done. That's obviously, again, something you probably take with bodyguard, or if you're doing higher level PvP build and stuff.
Why would a talent that sounds like it was made by Bill Gates be so boring?
Because it was made by Bill Gates.
That's a solid haircut.
Boomtown.
Moving over,
So, yeah.
where we get our 5
So
points.
just 3 points in increased aim, which is obviously very, 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 very useful.
That's
when
your primary stat, isn't it? I mean,
Exactly.
it sounds like it should involve something like hit, but it
Yes,
doesn't, does
no,
it? It's
no,
actually a
absolutely
primary
not,
stat
yeah.
similar to what
Anything,
people consider
yeah,
agility and
like
strength.
tech-related abilities, it increases. So obviously you want a big 9% increase in there. That's you'd really not want to skip that in any sort of
That's
build.
fine and dandy.
So as we go on to the second tier, let's have a look over here. Stabilizes 3 points in, basically drops the pushback effect when you're charging or when you're casting.
That's key.
That's
That's key.
self-explanatory. That is key.
It's key.
Let's put it this way, like there's a lot of AoE damage, or if you're being actually attacked by taking aggro and you're firing tracer after tracer, you don't want to have to take longer to fire those.
Well, of course, while you're leveling, you're getting punched in the face a lot.
You are getting punched in the face.
So you don't want to get
Exactly
pushed
right.
back while you're punching.
Okay.
Now, come on, say this name like it is.
Muzzle flew in.
You don't see anything funny with something called the muzzle flute.
No.
That's
Sure,
sexy.
there's an innuendo built in
There
there
is.
somewhere, but I'll leave that to
Why don't
you.
you play why don't you muzzle my flute?
Oh my god, shut up. So yeah, like we're saying again, like when you get to Tracer, that reduces the heat cost of it by 9, and you really are spamming that for a lot of different reasons, which we'll discuss further up.
Cool.
It not only gives you buffs, but it gives the enemy debuffs, which is the main thing that it gives. Upgraded Arsenal, which is basically your weapon imbue for all 3 specs. In the Arsenal spec, you will be using this little beauty, which is High Velocity Cylinder, which increases your armor penetration by 35%. When you use this little beauty here, do you have a read of that?
The high velocity gas cylinder. That's going to go ahead and reduce the heat cost of rail shot by 8. What's
Yes.
rail shot?
Rail
And why
shot,
is it
my
important?
friend.
It's heat cheaper.
It's very good because this is your rail shot here. Fires a very powerful shot upon a target that deals XX damage, only usable against incapacitated or targets suffering from periodic damage.
And you do dots. Do. You do have dots.
Well, I mean, mainly you do dots as a pyro. The only one dot that I mainly get is if I'm attacking packs, or I will open with a fusion missile.
But
Which
that does allow you to use rail shot?
Yes, that does.
Cool.
Allow
So you don't need to have it stunned. Like,
yeah.
bosses can't be stunned, can they?
No, but you got to think of like in other circumstances where you'll be with other people and they will obviously put dots on it. It's not just your dots that procs that rail shot, it's any dot on the mob.
Okay.
A rail shot is a really powerful attack as well once you fire it
Yeah.
off, which is cool. Yeah, well, that's obviously increased.
Hitting
further
like a
on.
boss.
That's what I mean, mate. Rail shot boss. Yeah, we skipped this. It's just basically increased endurance and healing received. Because you can't be a tank as a mercenary, that's just purely for PvP in my eyes.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in a PvE situation with this heavy damage, then maybe you're going to pick that up.
Yeah.
But in terms of a DPS spec,
Yet. Nishman's,
kiss
my
my
friend.
chuds. Moving on.
The next one, here it is, the bread and butter of your Merc, Tracer Missile. Launches a missile at the target dealing XX kinetic damage and applies a heat signature. Heat signature is basically an armor reduction, and everyone drops 4% and it can stack up to 5 times. So that's a 20% armor decrease.
That's right. I noticed now, though, that is a 25 heat cost. So I assume this bar is out of 100. So can you only fire 4 traces and then you're scuppered?
No.
Okay.
You've got to think about procs and like your actual heat regenerating itself and stuff like that. And so
Okay.
obviously you've got a lot to play with there. But that is your bread and butter of a Merc as DPS, is your Tracer Missile. This does so many things, which I know I keep saying it, but we'll see it further in the tree. At the minute, when you just pick your Tracer, all you've done is when you look down here, where was it? Now I'm going to look like an idiot because I can't find it. There you go. You've
It was
already
your muzzle flute, mate.
muzzle fluting, mate. That's what I'm talking
You
about.
missed your muzzle flute.
Music out of the missiles. Yeah, I feel a T-shirt coming up.
I
Music out of the
I
missiles.
love that name.
Yeah, but basically, yeah. So there you go. You've got a 9 heat reduction off your tracer before you even get to it. So you're only using power shot at this stage.
Yeah.
But as you initially pick Tracer, all it's going to do is reduce the armor on your target.
And that allows us to drop Power Shot. I mean, where does Power Shot come into play, or is Power Shot?
Well, Power Shot I want to talk about a bit at the end, because there's a lot of abilities that will give you a lot of things to use Power Shot with and things like that. But in any boss fight or pack instance that I've come across, I've never had the time or the heat spare to use Power Shot.
Fair enough.
But yeah, that's, you know, we'll talk about that a bit later. So I picked that, and then Afterburners. This is mainly for leveling, I think, but obviously is really good if you're getting aggro from packs or something and instancing as you're getting up. So your 2 points in it. Rocket Punch has a 100% chance to knock the target back several meters, which is always cool. In addition, Jet Boost knockback effect is stronger and pushes the enemy 4 meters further away. Now, your Jet Boost is an AoE knockback, which we can see in the video, mate.
Of course, because you hit a stew.
I didn't, mate. Hit a strike, an entire pack off a bridge. Do one.
I'll make sure we zoom in on the video so the guys can see.
Cool. So yeah, that's really, really good. That's very effective as well. Like, and there's a lot of abilities that you can play with that. Obviously, later on, when you knock them back and unload, it's going to take them longer to get back to you as you're DPSing them.
Now, again, as we did say before, then that is not a boss ability, is it? I mean,
no.
That's, you know, we definitely picked up a few talents we're going to talk about later.
Exactly.
That are almost trash only.
Exactly.
And so this gives you a lot of flexibility, I think, in terms of going for a boss heavy build or an effective PvP and flashpoint build.
Yeah, it's basically like I'm going to really reevaluate this build once I can, because there'll be a lot of things that become null and void unless you're taking a lot of damage and stuff in trash packs, or if you're soloing things. But yeah, that's mainly for trash packs.
But threat is an issue, which is something we spoke about. Threat is an issue for the Bounty Hunter Mercs.
Threat, yes, because the amount of DPS that they put out in any circumstance is very high. Like in the video that we've just done in Red Reaper, I'm the lowest DPSer there, and I managed to pull aggro quite a few times, mainly because I'm being an idiot and attacking mobs.
I was just going to say, did you find that's because you're a bad player?
Yes, but no. We'll circle back to that.
I just think it's because you were doing baller DPS, mate.
I think it is, mate.
That's what I thought it was, mate. I thought you were just like running through there like a
because my spasm was on your Razor Naga, just pressing all my high fucking aggro buttons.
What was that, a blue nipple sort of spell there?
The blue nipple, my friend, is Power Barrier. Now this is awesome. It's basically another addition. It's a buff added onto your Tracer. Every time you fire that Tracer, it will give you a buff, which will give you a 2% damage reduction for 15 seconds, and it refreshes and stacks up to 5 times every time you fire it.
That's awesome for leveling.
Yeah, of course
that is awesome. 10% flat damage reduction.
10% damage reduction, which is good in all circumstances.
That's gravy boat.
I like it.
Now I noticed one over there, you've gone with a 1 out of 2. Talk to me.
Yes, initially I skipped this, which I'm sort of regretting, but at the end of the day, it didn't make that much difference to me, because leveling, I didn't really mind having a lower crit damage dealt, and there was a lot
bonus
more
damage. So you need to crit first to get the benefit.
Yeah, you
of
need
this
to
talent.
crit.
And I assume when you got to here, you weren't critting that much.
No,
that's what your choice is there.
Exactly.
This is something you probably pick up endgame.
Yeah, this is basically as I've gotten to the top of the tree, I've come back, and this is the first thing that I'm nailing now, because I'm starting to crit.
So we've got only affects unload and heat seeker missiles. Now is heat seeker missile your actual top end talent? Okay, so that's wasted time, and so it's only affecting your unload.
Exactly.
Right. So it's understandable why that's skipped.
But also as well, like there's the things like your unload refresh, which is a higher tree talent as well. So at this stage, all you've got is your unload cooldown, and then you've got to wait, and then it's basically. It's a 15-second cooldown, so that can only happen every 15 seconds. Whereas if you get a Tracer Missile proc or something like that, it's obviously straight up, and the damage is increased in it anyway.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that.
I get that.
So yeah, let's go to the next tier. We've got Jet Escape here.
That sounds awesome.
It is, mate.
It just sounds like it should shoot you straight out of the
instance. It sounds like a load of
people
people around you, mate, and you just fly straight up.
It sounds like a bubble Hearthstone. Like you press it and you just literally become immune and just get the fuck out of there.
It's like middle fingers everywhere, no one can touch you. But it isn't.
What's our James Bond Jet Escape doing?
Basically, it's reducing the cooldown of your Jet Boost, which is your AoE knockback, by 10 seconds. And your Determination, which is your Freedom Trinket, basically, by 30 seconds.
Yeah, I understood now why you took that.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think I'm going to keep that in my endgame spec, purely because there are a lot of packs and bosses which do tend to stun, knockback, knock you over, and slow you.
Yeah,
so
all the time. All the time.
To keep that. As we go over here, light them up.
Light them up.
I like it, mate.
Light them up.
Light them up. Tracer now applies an additional heat signature.
Oh, that's your armor debuff, isn't it?
That's what it'll do, 2 at a time. That's
yeah.
straightforward. Terminal Velocity.
Cool name again.
Cool name, shit film.
Shit film.
High five. Yes.
I can't believe you've seen that film. That's awesome. It's so bad. Anyway.
while high velocity gas cylinder is active, which is your arsenal spec'd weapon imbue.
Yeah.
Critical hits with your missiles and unload have a 100% chance to vent 8
Oh,
heat.
nice.
Yeah.
But
Can only
I
happen
can only
every 3 seconds, but at the end of the day, you've got you're casting as well, so that's obviously taking some of that time out of the factor.
So crit's going to be actually a nice stat for you to gain in endgame.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can see it because it's going to just
Definitely.
keep refreshing your heat down.
Definitely.
As well.
It's gonna-
You can see how the talents are sort of dictating what you should be getting for.
Exactly. The fact that the more crit means that you're going to get more heat reduction and you're going to get more damage to your unload and heat seeker and stuff.
Feeling it.
Exactly, mate.
So
Let's
just
move
take us straight up this path because this is obviously a
Okay.
chain reaction.
Tracer lock.
Tracer lock.
Tracer lock. Basically, it's a buff for you. Every time that you do it, your next rail shot will increase damage by 6%, stacks up to 5 times. So that's a 30% increase to your rail shot.
So you definitely want to be sort of doing 5 tracers, rail shot. But again, tracer builds a lot of heat, doesn't it?
Tracer does build a lot of heat.
So that's a nice balance to be watching for, really. That I mean, I assume you're
That's your
aiming
rail
now
shot.
to build this rail shot up regular basis.
Yeah, same as it's the same thing. You're building your buffs and debuff for your rail shot, but not only that for your heat seeker as well. But that's obviously a bit later on. Yeah, rail shot's an awesome ability. It's not very costly, which is good. You can only use it once every 15 seconds. It's not too bad, and obviously you've got to wait for it to be dotted or stunned. But it's a really nice insta-cast train wreck, mate. That's what that is.
It's an Optimus Prime of power.
That is.
Riddle.
Optimus Prime. Riddle. Me this, Holmes. Basically.
Oh, what a boring talent for such a comedy name.
Boring talent. Check that out.
Yeah, but you know, there's no paragraph of words. You know, I like me wordy talents.
What was you expecting the description to be? An enigma?
It's like, dude, got this talent called Riddle. What does it do? It's damage.
Damage increase. That's
It's
it. mate.
damage. It's like it brings you up, lets you down. But still, yeah, you're going to be using unload anyway to vent heat. So it's
Exactly.
a nice increase to that.
Yep, and
Happy
the
with
next
that.
from that is this little beauty. Oh, that's not a little beauty. I'm thinking of the wrong one. Idiot. Unload, basically 100% chance to lower your target's movement speed by 50%. That I am classing as a leveling ability.
2 seconds, don't like that.
It's not that much, but you got to think of the fact that you're not actually shooting for longer than 2 seconds either. So it's basically, I mean, you can uppercut them back with your rocket punch, and they're quite near you anyway. Whereas if you're using your jet boost, they're a lot longer back. So you're obviously, if Mako's healing you, she's got more time to heal you. You've got more time to put DPS into them, or waiting for your abilities to refresh, and so on and so forth. It's good for leveling. But
It's good for leveling, but I mean, your unload's on a 15-second cooldown, so it's a 2-second slow every 15 seconds.
Not anymore, it isn't, mate. Oh
Because
shit, yeah it is, because we're not the next tier yet.
Called it, mate.
F you in the A.
So yeah, I mean, okay, I certainly wouldn't consider that for any game.
I'd also say that's
Leveling
PvP.
definitely a bit slow. Yeah, a little bit. Moving on.
And we've
Oh,
also
hang
got
on.
this little
Koto
Koto
vents.
mate. I suppose that's a leveling ability as well. Basically, every time that you use your vent, which is on a 2-minute cooldown, you regenerate 7% of your health.
Oh,
Nothing too big.
Nothing clever. A lot of filler talents.
Yeah,
lot
definitely.
of filler talents. Nice flexibility. Like it.
Barrage.
Barrage.
This is a little beauty. Basically, your power shot and tracer missile have a 30% chance to finish the cooldown on unload and increase its damage dealt by 25%. Now here's the thing, not only does it refresh your unload to fire it off again, it increases the damage by 25% in combination with Riddle, my friend.
Well,
Work that out, because I don't do maths.
if you want to riddle the barrage.
Riddle me this.
Riddling the barrage, that's some nice big buffs. I wonder how they stack, if it's like a 55% increase or a 30% and a 25 on top. But still, damage buff nonetheless.
Exactly, it's a refresh and it's a big ass hit as well on that. So I think, I mean, that's basically. I mean, there's 2 trees coming off your unload ability, which says that basically you're slowing them down and you're basically hitting them like a tank.
But what it says to me is that you're using that tracer missile to build up to the rail shot. That tracer missile's giving you a chance.
Whoa.
Get lost. That's a stabbing.
That is a stabbing.
Your tracer missiles you're building your tracer missiles to fire off some big rail shots.
Yes.
But then you're going to mix in the fact that your unload's now proccing to reduce the heat to fire off more tracer missiles, and you can see how it synergizes together.
Exactly.
Like one crumbly, gorgeous sandwich.
It's like spinning plates, mate, but 2 sets of plates. You got one which are all your abilities and procs, and the other one's your heat, mate. Because you can't. I mean, like you'll probably see in this video, because I can't work out the Naga. That's my other abilities. Is I use a lot of my auto attack as a filler because I heat too quick. that's purely because on my
Premature
left
heat.
Exactly, mate.
What a pisser.
I've got my lower heat burst and stuff like that attached to my mouse.
Okay.
So,
Well, let it slide.
Yeah, we'll let it slide.
You've got enough issues being a lefty.
But you can see by this point basically that you're spamming Tracer to get your buffs on for your rail shot and the debuff of the enemy, which is reducing their armor. That builds up. In between that, as soon as you get like a proc for your barrage, then you fire off your unload because you're in a massive amount of damage to that, and then you get back onto your Tracer if you need to. Also, as soon as you stack it, get your fucking heat-seeking missile fired out.
Dick.
That damage is
We haven't even got
insane.
to it yet.
Well, I'm just
Why
saying,
have you
mate.
prematured it again? That's not the mouse's fault, is it?
That is the mouse's fault.
What's the other talent?
Let's do it.
Power override.
Power override, my friend. Reduces the cooldown of concussion missile by
Sounds
15
like a stun.
seconds. And thermal sensor override, which is a damage increase at cap. We don't have that yet.
Oh, okay.
But
it's
yeah.
definitely going to be worthwhile with a 30-second cooldown and a damage buff.
Exactly. So at the minute, it's basically acting as a quicker combat sap for this little ditty right here.
Which is great for leveling.
Of course it is. Especially like when you go inside the 4-man heroic quest.
But again, this looks like a very PvP, very sort of general tree to me. It doesn't look like it's very PvE or PvP orientated
I
either
see
way.
what you mean. I see what you mean. Yeah, it's basically survivability and burst.
Which is great for leveling, which is what it's all about. Yeah.
That's why I'm quite eager to try out Pyrotech at cap, but like I am gonna cap first.
Okay.
And then we go to
What's our big daddy?
The big finale is the heat-seeking missile, which not only is a nice damage, it's a fucking awesome animation.
The damage is increased by 5% per heat signature. Right, so we're building that with our Tracer Missile again.
Exactly.
So Tracer Missile is everything to
Tracer
do with
Missile
spec. Tracer
is your
Missile and
arsenal
unload.
spec.
Are you bish bosh?
Bread and butter. Yes.
Nice. That is the cake and the custard.
That is a cake and or indeed custard. Yeah.
So that is our big finishing manoeuvre. Costs only 15 heat, so it's 16 heat. It's nice and cheap.
It's awesome.
And it's got a lovely 25% damage buff because of your Tracer Missile.
Yeah.
That's
so
cricket.
you basically, like, with your target fully debuffed, you get that in every time that you can get it off. Basically.
I like it.
Every time it's not on cooldown, fire that bastard.
I want to stroke it. But now we've done that, Andy. Now we've done that. Where are we going then?
Nice.
Are we going left or are we going right?
What do you think?
Well, looking at your mouse, I think we're going right.
No, I'm joking.
I like the way you did the old switcheroo.
The old switcheroo, my friend.
Where are we going to put them remaining 10 points?
Well, basically, should we have a look at the bottom tier, of all of them? Now, let's have a look over this side first. Improved vents, which is basically your
Heat removal cooldown.
Yeah, we'll give you 16 less heat. Well, 16 more heat reduced when you use vents. I wouldn't pick that.
Okay.
It's
Well,
2 minute
why not, though?
cooldown.
What else are we going to pick?
Well, okay, then let's have a look through them before I start.
Mad
saying
Tech.
it. Mad Tech. Basically, that's a healing ability. Nishman's for a DPS
Lame.
spec, mate. Hired muscle, mate. I like it. Increased range and tech crit. Yes, my friend.
I fucking love Kurt Russell.
I love Kurt Muscles. Kurt Muscles?
Hurt muscles.
Hurt Muscles, Kurt Russell. There it is. Fuck you. How about
So what was that again? Let's go back. We skipped over it. Hide muscle, increased our range, and flat 6% crit chance buff.
Exactly.
Nice and easy.
Nishman's.
Advanced targeting.
Yep, increases ranged and tech accuracy by 1%. I can see that being useful, obviously, like on your unload and things like that, where it's a lot of small hits. That's obviously going to play a factor.
Well, for me, in general, we try and pick as... unless we get very over-geared. If we look at general MMO statistics, or general MMO gearing, if you can pick up free stats, it's a good idea to, because that means when we're gearing in the early days, hit is generally... Accuracy is hit.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to generally reach those hit caps. And also, we tend to be sort of like using mods to get to that hit cap. If we can pick up 3%, which is generally quite a lot of hit rating or accuracy rating to get a full percentage, we can use that to other DPS increases. So I'm giving that a thumbs up.
You give that a thumbs up.
I just
give
did.
that a bro fist. Nice.
I bet that comes across on the sound as well.
It does, mate.
Yes.
Like a shockwave.
System calibrations. Bill Gates is back and in the house.
Increase the clarity by 2%. So that's a
Haste!
2% increase. Haste. You're so good.
Haste.
Choke.
It's how quickly we cast stuff that needs to be cast.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's probably a decent one to use as well. Obviously,
of course,
if you're spamming Tracer.
What have you got that's channeled? Unload. Channel for a start.
That's a channel though. We're talking about cast times. Increased cast times.
Yeah, well, that's channel spells.
Does that work on channel spells as well? What
Well,
does
it
that
is a
mean?
cast time.
You finish your channeling spell quicker, is that what
Usually,
that means?
yeah.
Alright, okay then, yeah, that makes sense to me.
So it works on all ways.
It does work on all ways.
That's gravy.
If you're spamming your main two attacks, which are a channel and a cast, which is your unload and your tracer, that's good.
Don't take my word on that, but in general, haste increases both channeled and casted spells.
It can't hurt at the end of the day.
Or it adds more ticks. But considering your channeled spell fires off a missile, that's unlikely.
Indeed.
Because otherwise that'd be 2 missiles.
What if it fired
and that's
2
crackers.
missiles? That is insane, Asylum.
That is a quickening of the testicles.
I'm just going to spam a clarity, see if I can get like 12 missiles coming out of my tracer.
Like a minigun.
I'm going to have like a swarm missile tracer, mate.
What was that final one? Integrated cardio package. I like it.
That right there is a gym membership.
It's a gym membership.
It's a treadmill.
But that's a flat health buff.
Yes.
Little bit lame. So in likelihood, we're going to pick up the clarity, we're going to pick up the hits, or the accuracy, and we're also looking, for me there, we're definitely going to get the critical chance out
Exactly.
for our flat DPS
That's
build.
it.
Looking for a PvE DPS sort of chestnut.
Exactly.
That's where we got on. But a very interesting talents tree compared to the others we've looked at, the Juggernaut and the Assassin.
I mean, like I can only speak from experience on the Assassin. The Assassin seemed very... The 3 trees were very, very distinctive. It was Deception was a leveling tree. You could only basically go into Madness once you got the level 40 ability, because then it all came together basically. So I'd only go for that on a cap, and then obviously you got your tank spec.
So in terms of people thinking of rolling the Merc Bounty Hunter, what's your overall opinion?
Well, I've tried Bodyguard and Arsenal. I've avoided Pyro for the same reason as I did with the Assassin. I'm going to try that one a cap. Definitely Arsenal. It's so much fun. It's high DPS. It's decent survivability.
Well, we can see the survivability definitely is there.
Yeah.
Oh, great little tree. And are you enjoying the class so far?
I've not played my Assassin since.
Okay. And we're going to call that enough said.
Indeed.
There you go, guys. That is the Merc Bounty Hunter.
Leveling spec.
Leveling spec. So we're going to come back to that, obviously, when he caps this one, and then look at it, how it rolls in the PvE environment. Stay baller. Bro, see if we can throw out another bro fist on the mic. 3, 2, 1.
Yes.
Yes. See you later, guys.
Peace.
really need to run.